Okay, my daughter just shot her first mule deer buck. It's a beautiful, conservatively 275 pound, 300 pound deer, just a giant. And moving forward on the how-to videos, this is the gutting segment. So we're gonna start, your very first cut is gonna be to cut around the anus. Ultimately, all his waist goes right through the center of his pelvis and then is connected to this outer hide. So if we remove this hide, we'll be able to pull the digestive tract from the pelvic canal, essentially. Something to keep in mind is there's not just one way to do something, and if it's not that way, it's wrong. Keep an open mind. I have gutted hundreds of animals, and I've done dozens of them differently with fantastic results. So don't be afraid to just try. Essentially, I'm reaming around the anus of this deer, and then I'm gonna pull what I can and see if I can get it to come free. This one here releases, no big deal. Let's start the next cut. In the state of Wyoming, it's a requirement to leave proof of sex. So we're gonna remove the head. So I need to leave his testicles and penis on. So essentially I'm gonna cut just right, because I'm right-handed, of all that. And I'm just cutting through hide. I like to slide down right next to the pelvis and his rectum. And then from here, I nick ever so gently until the gut herniates. Right there, you can see where the gut just popped out. A little device we're working on is, essentially it's a little S-hook, and the idea would be to slide it in so that you can lift the gut and not tear it, and then just cut alongside of it. So many people use 2 fingers and they come inside, and it's a very good way to cut yourself. But the best way to not cut the gut is to just lift. If I'm lifting with this device and putting my blade right next to it, I can move it forward without ever cutting the gut. This is that beautiful caul fat that a lot of people will cook with. They wrap it steak or roast in it, and it just keeps it nice and moist. I don't buy in. I don't think it's as delicious as everybody says. It will keep your steak moist, but if you had the option, use butter. I cut this deer up the side so I could show you his diaphragm. Ultimately, everything behind the ribs is digestive. Everything in front of the ribs is cardiovascular. So I'm gonna try and lift this around and get you an angle into the diaphragm. This was where I cut his rectum out. So that's all free and clear. So this is the part that most are concerned about. So you have all this digestive stuff, the liver, and then this is the diaphragm. This is the part that separates the cardiovascular from the digestive. That's the part you cut. And then from inside there, you can see all those vital organs. It's okay. I typically take everything all in one shot, but today I'm gonna pull it out in 2 pieces just to kind of show you. It might have been what he was puking up. There's his lungs. So you're gonna reach up inside here, and you're gonna feel around for like a big corrugated tube. Look at these cows.
I know.
You pull that tube, which is right there. So this is the cardiovascular part. The lungs, which you hit right there. Mm-hmm. Look, you just blew up his lungs. See how they lay, let me show you something. It lays in his chest kind of like a butterfly. Heart in the middle, and the lungs are the wings. Like this. So you can see where you hit, right?
Yeah.
Right at the very front. There's the heart. So all this fluid that's up in his chest cavity, if I've done my job right, I should be able to lift it and pour all that right out of his tuchus. You can see where this deer, from the impact of the bullet, kind of if I'm saying that right, exasperated his guts. You can see how much has run out on the ground here. That's what was in his gut cavity. Just to make things easier to load, I'm gonna take this deer's head off right now. Lindsay's just gonna Euro it. She comes from a long line of skull people. So Lindsay, we're gonna take his head off just from one side. So behind his head, you can almost feel a dent. Like it comes up and then there's a knob right here. That is essentially his atlas joint behind his ears. So I just cut through the hide. Both sides. You can see this joint right here where my knife is, Lynn. Mm-hmm. You'll never need to cut bone or anything, taking off anything on a deer. If you're hitting bone, you're not making the right cut at this point. This little, this is a jaw or hinge bone, I call it.
So I'm guessing we're done with pictures?
Yeah. Was that a joke?
Yeah.
So you can see now it's just hide. If you're gonna hang a deer, I always like to take the bottom leg off, and then typically on the West we hang from the Achilles. So you don't want to cut that, and anybody that knows me knows that I'm notorious for cutting those. So this is the same blade I've been using to cut the head off, the gut with, remove the tongue. Y'all didn't see that, but essentially I'm gonna skin this just to show you. What you don't want to do is cut that Achilles tendon. So if you put pressure right here where it's in the light, your knife will almost tell you where the cut is. You can see how it just released. And you just take off that joint. And that Achilles tendon is still connected in there. We're just going to skin that down a little bit. Now I have a perfect place to put my little hook, which will go right in here. And then I'll just be able to hang him in the tree. You can see the knee bends like this. A lot of people will try and cut here. I think it's easier if you put odd pressure and cut here. Signs the papers. Sign them.
What?
Signs the papers. It's an old, like, mob comment. I break your arm. Y'all, smaller the critter, the easier the job. That's just a basic rule. Don't be afraid to do the gutting process. The key, if you've never done it before, go really slow and take your time. As far as head removal, if you're fighting it, put big pressure against the joint that you're trying to cut against and just ease your knife through it. No big deal. And as far as cutting joints, plan on messing up a few as you go. That last one there, I didn't do very clean, but that was the footage I had. I have a whole series of these videos coming, so if you're interested, antelope, elk, deer, whitetail, mule deer, you name it. We got sheep coming. I have ibex from Turkey. You name it. We'll continue these videos moving forward. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.